Hello, this is Payal Agarwal from Kolkata, India. Namaste. Hi, good afternoon. This is Payal Agarwal. Namaste. Today we are going to make again a one pot recipe. I hope you all are enjoying it. I'm getting a lot of comments saying that people tried my recipe and it came out well and they liked it. Thank you for your love. So today is something which is difficult to feed children, something green. So when they see the color green, they feel it's not meant for normal people and it's not edible and it's difficult to feed them. I've experienced it all my life with my son and now with my niece who's 4-year-old, and if she sees anything green on her plate and it's difficult. But this is something which is tried and tested with my son also when he was growing up, and it's packed full of nutrients, and tell you as we go along. And today we are making broken wheat in spinach sauce. Now this will not be a very saucy or a very wet kind of dish. It will be something which is dryish. It will be like a palau. So I'm going to make a drink, a cool drink which goes with it to put everything down. It's not going to be very dry also. It's going to be semi. It's going to be somewhere there. So let's begin. I'll show you the things that I have prepped for you. Okay, first things first is the wheat that we are using. So this is broken wheat or cracked wheat, bulgur wheat. It's called steel cut oats also in some places, and phenomenal grain. So how this is made is, first of all, it is not processed at all. So this is in its absolute raw form, and so it's packed full of nutrients. So the wheat grain is husked and broken down into the size that is required, and this is what we get out of it. So it's not processed, it's absolutely pure form of wheat, packed full of proteins and healthy fibers. It's very high in fiber, so it's a great grain to eat for dinner, lunch, breakfast. So this dish can be made for any of these three times, and it's a great thing to eat. So this is what we are going to use today, and this again can be can be substituted with couscous. You can put quinoa, you can put broken wheat is there. In case you if you're gluten intolerant, you can use rice. So this same recipe, same measurements, everything can be made with rice. Rice as usual will be soaked, rinsed and soaked for at least half an hour, as I show you in the rice recipes, like I showed you yesterday also. So rinse and soak the rice. This I have not done anything to. I have not soaked it, I have not rinsed it. This is as it is. Okay, it's like just grain. Okay, so this is what we are using today. And for this, the veggies that I am using, first of all, grated ginger. Lots of grated ginger. This is the only aromat that goes in this dish. And as I told you, the properties of ginger are phenomenal. Anti-inflammatory. It's very good for any kind of congestion, any flu-like symptom. Of course, what is happening in today's scenario, show a doctor immediately. But otherwise, for any flu-like symptom, ginger is one of the best things. I'll show you a very interesting thing. When we used to get a bit of a sneezing bout or a cold or a cough, my grandmom used to make something which is phenomenal. It's like a magic potion. You have 1 teaspoon of that, and your cough and your cold and your sneezing and your running nose vanishes forever. So this is ginger. I have taken green chili paste, around a teaspoon of green chili paste. And I've taken some broken cashew nuts. Again, you can use any kind of nuts that you have. You can use almonds, you can use walnuts, you can use peanuts. I had cashew nuts, so I've taken that. I've just taken the whole and cashew nuts, and I've just broken it into uneven pieces. You don't have to go ballistic, whatever. However it's broken is fine. 1 small chopped onion, chopped roughly. You don't need to, and the main thing that we are using, spinach puree. Again, packed full of vitamin C. The bright green color, how pretty, bright green. makes you happy just looking at it. So, and it's what I have done is I took the leaves, spinach leaves, washed it thoroughly under running water again, and then you just whack it in the processor, put a little bit of water, and you just grind it to a paste like this. It's a little watery, see, it's a little watery because it's raw, it's uncooked. So I just took the leaves and put a little water and I just processed it. Yeah, that is that. And peas, green peas. Now in India you must be wondering how I'm getting fresh peas in this weather and in this this thing. So what I do is during the winters when we do get fresh peas in India, I store it, I freeze it. I'll show you how. It's very easy. I just take it out of the pod and put it in a Ziploc or any plastic, tie it nicely tight, put it, whack it in the freezer, and it stays very well for a year. Nothing, so you don't have to go through that process of, you know, boiling and this and that. And don't buy frozen peas from the market. They have a lot of preservatives. They really use a lot of preservatives to preserve the green color. And see how green it is still. I have not done anything to it. It was raw and I just put it in a bag and I put it in the freezer and it's absolutely fresh. So this is what we are going to use today. And I've got one medium sized potato which I have again chopped roughly and I've put it in water. I told you it's full of iron, so don't keep it just you know, exposed to the air. It will turn black. So you dip it in water and you keep it for later use whenever you're doing so. And curry leaves. Again, I have a beautiful plant of curry leaves. This we use extensively in India, southern part of India and eastern part of India mostly. This is used a lot again in the southeastern cuisines also. Very aromatic, beautiful and very, very good for the hair. I'll tell you to make an oil out of this, and if you use it, believe you me, you'll bless me. The, you know, the volume in your hair and stops breakage. It's a beautiful leaf to use. It's a multifaceted leaf. So I'll tell you how to use it in an oil for your hair as we go along. So that is curry leaves, and basically that is what we have. And one more, today what we are going to make the food is clarified butter, ghee. Again, very extensively used in India. You can buy it at any store all over the world. It's clarified butter, they call it. And this I make at home, very easy to make. I'll keep talking about how to make ghee and how to, the older the ghee gets, the more, and ghee has vitamin A, D, E, K. It's packed full of omega-3, calcium, good for your hair, good for your eyes, good for your bones, and it doesn't make you put on weight. Please, let's again break this myth once and for all. Doesn't make you put on weight. Every morning I make my breakfast in ghee. So ghee is a must, and I try to incorporate it once more either in lunch or for dinner. So today it will be dinner. So we'll make it in clarified butter. Yeah. So let's start. Heat on. Okay. So now you turn the gas to a low and we take ghee first, the clarified butter, and we take a good half a spoon, or half a spoon of that. Dinner spoon I've taken. So I've taken half a spoon of that. So what my grandmom used to do, you know, for the cough drops, and if we used to get a cold, she used to take this ghee like this. And I still have a pan which I've kept only for that, because my husband and my son keep getting a cold with every changing weather. So this pan is only kept for making this concoction for the cough and cold, as I told you, for flu-like symptoms. So what you do is you take a dollop of clarified butter, ghee, put the grated ginger. So you put the grated ginger. So equal amounts of ghee, ginger, you put that in, and you put double the amount of honey. Put that in and you just give it a stir. The moment it starts melting, the ghee, the ginger in it will start sizzling, and the honey makes it sticky. So once that consistency is there, so you just take that concoction and one teaspoon you can give to all your family members, and it is miraculous. you have a running nose, cold, cough, you're sneezing a lot, and all that just disappears, and absolutely natural. So please give it a try, and it will really work. It does work. I've been given that since I was a baby, and I've given it to my child, and it really works. So that is that. I'll keep this pan back. Okay, so now the ghee is melted. See, melted. So now once that, you don't have to get it sizzling hot as I told you. Okay, so once that is done, you put the ginger in first. All of the ginger. So this has no other spice as such, only ginger goes into this. And after the ginger, you put in the cashew nuts. So once the cashew nuts are in, you slightly toast it. And the moment you start toasting it, you'll see it starts changing color. It will become, you don't want it dark brown, you don't want it getting bitter. As I told you, anything which becomes black becomes bitter. So, and at this point for the tempering, see, we didn't put the tempering before. I'll tell you why. Because after the tempering needs the oil to be very, very hot. So if the ghee was very hot and I put the tempering first and then I put the cashew nuts and ginger, the cashew nuts and ginger would have burnt. So now that I put this in cold or just room temperature ghee, and then I have let it sizzle. Now when I put the tempering will be fine, and my cashew nuts and ginger won't burn. So for the tempering, my masala box. Okay, so for the tempering we are using mustard seeds. So the mustard greens that you get and the mustard oil that is very widely used again in India, especially in Eastern India. So this is the seed, this is the mustard seed, mustard plant seed. So if you just throw in a few of these seeds into a pot, very easily you can grow those small mustard greens in your own house. So I'm just taking half a teaspoon and putting that in now. You'll see immediately, within seconds, it starts dancing in the pan. Mustard seeds really do dance in the pan, I'll show you. And you can hear it crackling, it will go. Gets angry. So once that is happening and it starts making those sounds, I'm just waiting for that sound to happen to show you. So it starts popping in the pan. The moment it starts popping in the pan, done. Okay, and wait for it. See, can you hear it popping? There. See how angry it gets. So the moment it starts popping, it's done. So if you don't wait for it to pop, it stays bitter. So be a little patient and wait for it to pop. The mustard seeds must pop. Must. Okay, so once this is done, now we use the dalia. I mean the broken wheat or the couscous or the whatever you're using. Rice should be put later. I'll tell you when to put the rice if you're using rice. If you're using couscous, if you're using this broken wheat, or if you're using quinoa, you put it at this point and the flame is on low and you start browning this a bit. The moment you start frying this, the wheat becomes nice and coated with all the ghee, the clarified butter, and it gives out a beautiful aroma. It becomes nutty. The grain now, you'll know immediately when it's starting to fry off, because it gives out that nutty flavor, that nutty aroma. So you'll get to know immediately. It will take 2 minutes. So we have to patiently keep on. As I told you, the more love you put into your food, and patience is a virtue. So be patient and keep stirring. And not to leave this pan. You know, the broken wheat has a tendency to just sit on, in the pan and become black. So we don't want that happening at all. Okay. So you keep stirring constantly and it will become, I'll show you, it's still happening. It's not there yet. A little bit more. So once you start cooking, you know, when you get the whiff of the food, this I do a lot. So whenever you're getting the whiff of the food, you'll be able to tell whether it's cooked. You'll be able to tell whether the salt is enough, surprisingly. See how the human body is made? So the smells and the look, the colors, everything tells you what's happening to your food. It's beautiful. Okay, so now I'm getting the nutty aroma. I'll just show you once. See, it's starting to, you can use bulgur wheat. You just go ahead and use any kind of, and if you're gluten intolerant, I'll tell you when to use the rice. Okay, see, so you keep on, and this is how, see how glossy it's become, and it's changed color. So at this point, you know that it is nicely roasted. And roasting the dalia or the broken wheat or the couscous or the oats or whatever it is that you're using is very important. If you don't, it will be, you know, when once you put the water and once you start cooking it, it becomes like, you know, like porridge, and you don't want that. It becomes absolutely mushy and it's not, so we don't want that. So toasting it is very, very important. This step is very important to make a nice broken wheat pulao or dish. You can call it anything. I really don't have a name for it. Can you suggest, please, people who are watching, suggest a name for this dish? Broken wheat what? What can we call it? Yeah? So see, now it's done. At this point now what you do is, this has to be just transferred once. The bowl that I had, what I'll do is I'll just quickly transfer this out and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I'm just taking this out for a bit. See how nice it's become. Can you see how nice it's become? Glossy and all toasted. And the nuts and ginger, everything all toasted together, so all the flavors are in there. So just try and get everything out of the pan, because we are now going to start frying off the veggies and then amalgamate everything. Okay, so just about got burned. God. And don't get scared. I mean, little accidents, something spilling, little bit of a nick here, nick there, happens when you start cooking. I have gotten used to it. As I tell everybody, I've got hands which are made of asbestos. I just, you know, little bit burns here and there, so don't affect me anymore. So, and the trick is, if in case, God forbid, you know, you do get splashed and you do feel the, you know, a nick or a cut, if you get burnt, the first thing when you're getting this thing is, put your hand under running water. Running water, so that the skin inside will get cooled down immediately. If that doesn't happen, it keeps burning from the inside, so it will make it into a wound. So if you do get burned, God forbid, put your hand immediately under running water. Running water, that's the most important, and then you can go ahead and put your ointment and put ice and whatever, but for 5 minutes let your hand just be under running water. Okay, so now pan is empty. We put a little bit more of the ghee. Don't be scared of ghee. Please go ahead and use ghee as much as you can. I mean, not too much. You don't have to go overboard. So now I'm taking just quarter of a, I don't know what is this, not even a teaspoon. It's smaller than a teaspoon. It's like a baby spoon that I have. So I'm taking very little because we had used ghee earlier. So you don't want to go overboard, but you don't have to be scared. Packed full of omega-3. It's very good for your eyes, your bones. People my age, I mean, I'm young, but what? Okay, let's not get there. Okay, so onions. So, you know, who have a little aches and pains, knees and neck, they get a little stiff. Very good for lubricating your bones, so it's very good for people who are starting with any kind of arthritis, pains, knuckles and fingers and toes and knees. Incorporate ghee in your food and you'll see the change, you'll see the difference. It really does help. Okay, so the potatoes now which we had soaked in water, so we take out the water, take it with a spoon, put the potatoes in there, and now we'll start frying these. The moment, and the one thing more about clarified butter or ghee is that it has a very distinct and a very beautiful aroma, which you don't get when you're using olive oil. Like at least rice bran you don't get. Olive oil, like it has a distinctive flavor, distinctive taste, and a few things that you have to put olive oil in, like that. So few things you just have to put clarified butter in. So and my suggestion, clarified butter now is readily available everywhere, but just in case you feel that no, it's difficult, I'm not getting my clarified butter, what else can I use? Use unsalted butter, normal unsalted butter, store-bought, what you can lay your hands on. And in case you don't get that, then go ahead and use olive oil or rice bran, as I said, or any oil that you prefer. It's fine. Not that it's going to, compromise on the taste or anything, but this elevates it. You understand? So normal oil won't compromise the taste, but ghee or clarified butter will elevate it for sure. So that is a choice I leave to you. If it's readily available, please do use it. And very easily made at home. The trick to making ghee at home, I'll tell you. If you want me to, one of these days, if I have time, I'll just show you the process. It's a little lengthy, but you can make it and keep it, and it doesn't, and it's a preservative on its own, so you can just keep it out. You don't need to refrigerate it or anything. Keep it in an airtight container and keep it. If it doesn't get spoiled for years. And the older the ghee, the more power packed it becomes. The more power packed it becomes. The more vitamins and A, D, E, K, as I told you, omega-3, fatty acids. And it's amazing. It's amazing. It's a very good form of fat that should be used. I really recommend it highly. So going back to how to make the ghee. So once you're heating up your milk, okay, you heat up your milk and let it cool down a little bit. Once it comes to a boil, turn it off, let it cool down a little bit. Now once it's almost at room temperature, not completely at room temperature, it's almost at room temperature, warm, you keep it in the fridge. Now what happens after say about 5 to 6 hours, you'll see a layer of fat on top of the milk. In India we call it malai. So you see that layer of fat. So you scoop that layer of fat out gently and you put it in a pan like this. And the pan should be absolutely on a low. You put it on in a pan like this and you keep stirring it. Keep stirring it like we are doing. On a low heat, just keep stirring it. And suddenly you will see that it separates. So there is like a light brown color residue which is left at the bottom of the pan, and the clarified butter just comes up. So you just sieve it and that is your clarified butter and use it. It does take a little bit of time. So what I do is, normally I don't make it every day. I keep, milk we get every day, we heat it up every day and we use it every day. So what I do is I keep taking out that fat and I keep putting it in a airtight container and I leave it in the fridge. So once I have enough, like a big bowl full, once I have that much of amount, then I put it in the bowl and I make it once and for all. And I get this, my clarified butter jar. This will last me for a good 2 months, 3 months, maybe 3 months, I think 3 months. But it's good to incorporate in your daily food. Please try and do this as much as you can. So now the potatoes and the onion, as you can see, is almost become transparent and soft. Potatoes have still a bit to go. That will boil in the mixture when we are making the food. but the onions are translucent and soft. So at this point now we add the curry leaves. So I have taken 2 stalks here. So we'll use only 1 stalk now. And the 1 stalk that I have left, I'll tell you how to make the oil for your hair, because I'm going to make it after I finish this session, because we don't have time now, but I'll tell you how to make it. It's very simple, and you use it on your hair and wash it normally. So again, curry leaves, very aromatic. So what we did with the lime leaves yesterday, you have to do that. You have to crush it. Always crush these leaves, because then they leave their natural oil, they start, and the perfume starts. Yeah, so you put in the curry leaves, and immediately the moment it hits the heat, you can, beautiful. So that is done. And now at this point, we put the green chili paste. I am putting an entire teaspoon. You can adjust it according to how you like it. If you like it hotter still, put more. And if you don't want to put the paste, if you're finding it cumbersome, just chop up green chilies and put that. If you don't want to use green chilies, use red chili powder, chili flakes. And if you don't want to use any kind of chilies, just avoid it. Okay. So once that is little bit done, now we put the, see how beautiful bright green, full of chlorophyll. You know how good chlorophyll is? Chlorophyll is the green, what gives the green color to all the leaves. And it's so good for you, so nourishing, detoxifying. We talk about detoxifying drinks, and we have to detoxify our body, and toxins are there. And just have a green drink every day. Just make this spinach puree, and you put a little bit of sugar, a little bit of lime juice, and you just drink a little shot of it every morning, and you see the miracles that happen with you. So this spinach is beautiful. You put that, it will sizzle a bit, be careful. So the moment you put the spinach in, little bit was left, not to waste anything. Okay, so moment that is done, we start now. Now we put the green peas in. Should I just show you 1 minute? I'll just put this. Let me just go ahead and show you how I store the green peas. Give me a moment, I'll just come back with it. See? Green peas. So what I did was, when in December, when you get fresh green peas in India, I get a load of that, and I'll just show you. See, I just take it out of the pot and I put it in a Ziploc and I put it in the fridge. Can you see all the icicles? So this is how it freezes. You don't have to do anything to it, and it stays fresh, and you rinse it under running water, and that is what I've used. Great. No chemicals, no nothing, and it's just easy. So you please go ahead and do this next time. During winters in India, just buy your peas, and approximately if you buy a kg of green peas, if they are very good and fresh produce, you should get roughly around 400 grams of peeled pea pods. 400 grams. So you see how much you want to store according to how much you'll use throughout the year. So I normally store around, say, 6 kgs of I get peas, green fresh peas. So 400 per kg. So 6 fours are 24, around 2.5 kgs of fresh peas I have stuffed into the freezer. Use away. Make a paste, stuff it in a dough of flour and make parathas out of it. Make fritters out of it. It's such a nice vegetable, and they remain sweet, and the flavor stays intact if you keep it like this. It's very nice. So at this point, it's all done. Can you see? It's all coated and the water is starting to evaporate. So at this point, now we put in the wheat. Back again into the pan. Ouch! Oof, the wheat, the bowl has become hot. Oh God, what have I gone and done? Hot. Oh God, what have I... Okay. So now, see what to do now. All these things keep happening in a kitchen. So mix. Let the spinach and everything coat the wheat. So remember, you can use couscous, oats. This is called steel cut oats also, and bulgur wheat, cracked wheat. You get it in all these, under all these names, all over the world. So it's very easily bought. It's not anything very exotic. And in India, though, we use it a lot, a lot. We make various kind of things out of this cracked wheat. Today it's this. So now once that is all done, at this point we put in a little bit of salt. You put a little to begin with, and this is optional. I tend to put a little bit of this. If you want, you can. If you don't want, don't put it. This is a roasted cumin seed powder. So the cumin seed that I showed you, it looks something like this. Cumin seeds. Can you see cumin seeds? So you just dry roast it in a pan and you grind it up into a powder. So I just put a little bit of it because I like the flavor. You can put it or not put it. It's up to you completely. This is not like a mandatory thing. It's completely optional. So as you can see, the big flavor in this dish is ginger and curry leaves. So it's basically that. And rest you can kind of play around with. Go ahead and use what is more convenient to you. Water. So see the sizzling sound. I love the sounds and the colors, and you know, it's so nice. It's like meditation for me. I feel whenever I'm cooking, it's like meditation for me. What is meditation? Actually, it's just concentrating on one thing, right? And when you can forget about everything else, concentrate on that one thing that makes you happy, makes you feel positive. Cooking does that for me, very honestly. So I feel it's not like just for, you know, I have to make it because I have to have dinner at night. It's not like that. It is like my meditation. Some people dance to meditate. Some people just sit with their folded hands. They pray, and some people just sing. Some people go for a walk or a jog. But it's good to be one with nature and to give yourself that time to, you know, be peaceful, be happy. And food, and when I'm cooking, that gives me that joy. So I feel I'm meditating when I'm cooking. And if everybody can do it with me, even better. So at this point now, see, it's just about starting to cook. Little baby bubbles. And everything that I have done today is on very low heat, very low heat. So at this point now, we cover this, let it be on a low heat, and let it cook away for at least 5 to 7 minutes. And we'll just open it and see whether it needs adjustment with the water and salt and everything. We'll taste, okay? And then we'll take it from there. Now, one thing which I was wanting to show you was the curry leaf oil. So what you do is, any hair oil that you have, I use coconut oil. I swear by it. I cannot live without it. I use coconut oil for my hair as a moisturizer on my body and my face. I use it when I get burnt. I use it when I get cut. I use it pretty much, you know, if I have cracked lips, I use coconut oil for that. Coconut oil again is the one go-to for any kind of problems that you have, skin related, hair related. And please, I avoid these different brands of creams which will give you, you know, this vitamin and that vitamin. And this is raw, natural, power packed, full of vitamins and full of, and it's natural oil. It gets absorbed immediately into your skin and your hair, and it gives you a nice shine. And you know, when you're doing your makeup, I don't use a lot of makeup, my nieces do. And when I was younger, I used to use a bit of makeup. As you can see, I need it, but now I've given up. Don't have the patience to do all of so much of makeup. So when I used to, so people have started using highlighters, no, for their okay, this is girl to girl. Any man around, I'm sorry, just give me 2 minutes. So when you're using highlighters, so instead of highlighters, what you do is you just kind of, okay, so you just kind of take a little bit of coconut oil and you put whatever this thing, if you have, if you whichever lipstick you're using, or if you have a blusher, or if you have any kind of, that's all. If you don't have anything, if you just have talcum powder, talc, so just use a dash of that with coconut oil, mix it on your palms, and you use it and you blend it. And that highlighter, believe me, I mean, any highlighter, any expensive brand is a complete fail in front of that. So I swear by coconut oil. So back to the hair oil. So what you do is you take a cup worth of coconut oil. Now this again can be made and stored. So you can make a big batch and you can store it. So you take a big, say maybe 250 ml or 500 ml. And normally what I do is I take, like, this is a stalk of curry leaves. So you'll take around 5 or 6 stalks like this. And once you take these curry leaves, what you do is you just take the leaves out, or you leave it in the stalk like this. Dunk it in the oil in a pan like so. Put the oil, put all the curry leaves, and then switch on the gas. Okay, so what happens is it boils in that coconut oil, and it will turn completely black till the time it's boiling, and you wait for it to completely get, like, blackish. Let it come back to room temperature, switch off the gas, let it come back to room temperature. Once that is done, strain it, keep it in a airtight jar and store it. You needn't keep it in the fridge or anything, you just store it in your bathroom, and just before a shower, when you want to wash your hair, put that, do your rest of your things, you brush this, that, whatever that you have to do in your loo, and you wash your hair like normal, condition it like normal, and then you see. You will bless me, and I need the blessing, so please do try it. And it helps. I swear it helps. Okay, so now while this is doing its thing, we will make our drink for today. So it's been 2-3 minutes. Should we just check once and then we'll put it aside, okay, so that I can show you the drink here. Okay, so it's doing its thing. I think it needs a little bit more of water. It's become a little dry. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put a little bit more of water. See, as I told you, it's trial and error. Go by eye. So I can see that the grains are not fully done and the water was all dried up. See, can you see? The grains are not fully done. They are still little whitish and looking a little raw. So a dash of water I have put, and push everything into the pan, so that, okay, just a dash of water so that it can, there. And now that I've put a little bit of water, I'll have to balance it out. So little bit of salt more so that it doesn't become bland. So once that is done, give it a mix, and now let it sit there. Now it should be perfect. Okay. So this is happening. This we'll have to give it a minute or so, and then we'll keep it aside, and then I'll show you the drink. The drink that we are making today is honey curd probiotic drink. Curd, as I told you, fermented milk. Anything fermented, please try and incorporate in your daily lives. If not daily, at least twice a week, thrice a week. So you won't need to take all your probiotic pills and your drinks. And if you have curd, you're sorted. It can, curd with cumin is a deadly combination. Cumin powder, which I showed you. So that and curd, or that and honey, again, deadly combinations. These combinations will keep you will make you feel so lively, detoxified, and will make you glow. So please do try and incorporate curd as much as you can. I told you how to make the curd. Milk, boil it, let it cool down a little bit, put a green chili or a red chili with the stock. The stock makes the starter and start to curdle the, set the milk, ferment the milk for the curd. So now this is done 2 minutes. We'll switch off the gas, let it be, as I told you, as any one pot recipe. Let's not touch that. That will do its thing for another 2-3 minutes while I show you the drink. So what I have done is this, again, homemade curd. As you can see, I have taken homemade curd, and I just put it in the blender, and this is what it's become. Okay, so I blended that, my favorite glass. So blended that. I'm obsessed with this glass, which is a little funny, childish, but I am obsessed with it. Okay, so now what you have to do is, I've got honey. Again, see how sweet you want it. Put like 2 teaspoons worth first. See, can you see how much honey I put? 2 teaspoons worth of honey, and then you give it a stir, and then you check for the sweetness. Remember, it should be a little sweeter than you want it, because we are going to put water. See how the color's changed. Beautiful. So the amber honey and the white curd, see how beautiful it looks now. Light yellow. So once that is done, we'll taste for sweetness. Let's see. Sweet enough. So I can have any amount of sweet. So I can keep making it sweet, but this is for normal, for not like people like me, but for normal people, this is sweet enough. Water. Not to make it very thin. And I have a little bit of extra whipped curd here. So in case I'm feeling I've put in a bit much of water, so I'll put in a little bit more of the curd. And one very nice trick and tip I'm going to tell you: anything sweet that you're making, to enhance the sweetness of the sugar or of that dish, you know what you should do? It's a very see, I'm just taking like not even a pinch of salt. Can you see how much salt I've taken? It's not even like a pinch. This much. Just little bit. This much salt, just less than a pinch, like a small pinch you take. And if you put, it enhances the sweetness. So, if you see bakers, whenever they are making a cake also, or when we are making cookies also, we put like a pinch of salt. So, what happens is, it enhances the sweetness. So, that is done. Drink is ready. Great for the summers. And now, reality check. Okay, done. Should we open it? Ta-da! Done. Okay, now check for the seasoning, check for the taste. I'll just plate it up a little bit and I'll show you. Okay, as usual, as I told you, we must taste our own food. See how nice. See. It's all plumped up. The wheat, the broken wheat, all plump. And can you see how nice, and you know the nuts will also give out that flavor and all amalgamate with the dish. The potatoes are done nice and soft. So now we just taste it. Okay. For the seasoning. Oh, what. Done. So now that's dinner served. Go dance. Keep watching the FOMO NOMO page. There is dancing coming up, and then there is holistic healing coming up. So we'll do all that, and then we'll sit down to eat later. See you. Bye. See you tomorrow. Namaste.